Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It's the Audrey Wiggins Show.
Starring Audrey Wiggins, Executive Producer, Altogether Marketing LLC, Producer Audrey M. Wiggins, and Producer Jerome Lee Brown.
One of the most fundamental parts of doing business on the web is keeping your customers' information safe. Fear of hacking and other security breaches still makes a lot of people jittery about disclosing their credit card numbers and other private information online, like their home address and telephone number. And if they suspect that it could be compromised when they make a transaction on your site, they're going to take their business elsewhere. That's why you need an SSL certificate for your website.
Today our guest is Monica Starks. She's going to tell us about her journey of health. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's a teacher, an entrepreneur, and an author. They get it all in there. Yes. Awesome. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Monica.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so start off, I know you've had I've seen you, like a lot of people have seen you just, journey through some health challenges, and you just seem to just, bounce back. Your life has just been so inspiring. And I can only imagine, your book is, it's going to chronicle that and, to really, inspire some more folks, whether they're sick or not.
Right.
Physically, like I should say, whether physically sick or not, because, there's something, going on at different times.
Yeah, lots of things going on with almost everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So let's go ahead. Thank you.
So, you spoke about health issues. So, I probably have 101 things bothering me at one time. But the biggest thing that most people know about me is that I have end-stage renal failure, or another word for it would be chronic kidney disease.
Okay.
And so I was diagnosed with that 20 years ago.
Wow.
This August would be 20 years since I was diagnosed. And what I've tried to do over the last about 6 years or 7 years is just really be an advocate for kidney disease and spread the information, spread awareness about the disease. I've watched other diseases, particularly breast cancer, get a lot of awareness, and it's helped. It's made the numbers go down tremendously. It's really helped because people know more about what they need to do.
Yes.
Like, we know we have to go and get the girls checked at age 40. We know that. It's like
yes.
in our brains, and we've heard it a lot, we've seen it a lot. And so I thought, when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anything about kidney disease. I had never heard of it. I didn't know if it was a death sentence or what.
Right.
And so I thought that maybe if I went around and tried to spread awareness, similar to what I've seen with other diseases, it would help people know a little bit more. Once you're diagnosed, you're diagnosed. There's no, you can't change it. You don't, it's not something that's reversible.
Okay.
But understanding what it is, once you're diagnosed, makes a huge difference. And so I thought maybe I could do that. And then once I started learning a little bit more and doing more research, I realized that there's some things that you could do if you're at risk to maybe never end up with it.
Wow.
So my focus has been really on the at-risk population.
Okay.
So there's some other organizations out here, National Kidney Foundation, the Kidney Foundation of Ohio, and they do a lot of things with people who are diagnosed already, who know they have the disease. They help out tremendously. They do a lot. And they do some education as well, but I wanted to focus only on education.
Okay.
So I found out what the risk factors were. Two of the biggest risk factors, particularly for the African American community, are having diabetes and having hypertension. So really, I started really zeroing in on those communities.
Okay.
And telling people, hey, you're at risk for kidney disease. You know that you have this particular disease. Now let me explain to you that you're at risk for kidney disease. And kind of trying to give them maybe scare tactics, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
if that's what it takes.
trying to help them
straight.
understand what they could do to kind of prevent themselves from getting kidney disease. And just talking with people who went from one of those diseases to kidney disease, I learned that a lot of those people felt like they didn't really know, that the information wasn't really stressed to them, and that if they had have really realized that it was that important, they would have done more. And now I have, kidney disease. It's irreversible. What can I do?
Right.
So that's been my focus.
Okay.
And then in doing that, I had to share my story.
Yes.
Because what I realized is that people, particularly African American people, don't always listen to the doctor. They're not always honest with the doctors.
Or may not even go.
or they may not go. Sometimes they're just like, I need to get in and get out. And I felt like I look like them. I can relate to them. And if I share my personal story with them, they'll know that it's real.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll listen. And that's what happened. People were listening to me. People were saying, hey, my parents or someone in my family has been on dialysis, died from dialysis. I have diabetes. I haven't been taking my medicine. You know, I had to always give a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor because people wanted to really share with me.
Yeah.
And that just helped me realize how much this was needed.
Okay.
And I didn't understand, I still don't understand why there wasn't any real awareness, you know, anybody more important than me out there trying to help save people. But I did what I could do. And over the course of those years, many people said, you know, you're good, you know a lot. And I just learned a lot in trying to help people.
Yes.
And then I paid very good attention to my own health care.
Okay.
And, you know, you should write a book. You should tell your story. You should, you know, do this. As if it's just the easiest thing in the world to do. But I did it.
Okay.
But I did it.
Okay.
I put my story to words, and I thought maybe this will reach those people that I can never reach.
Right.
You know, because basically I'm reaching people here in Northeast Ohio. Haven't really had much opportunity to go outside of this area.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this book, it can reach people all over the United States.
That's
It can
right.
go outside the United States. There's no limit to where it could go.
Yes.
And if I really want to help people, that's what I need to do. I need to find a way to get in touch with the most people.
Right.
So I put my story to words.
Okay.
It's a very easy read, and it's basic. I start off talking about when I was diagnosed.
Okay.
So it starts there. There's a few bits and pieces from my childhood because now that I know more about the disease, I can think back to times when I probably had the disease, different things that were going on, but we never knew. We didn't know to investigate kidney disease, you know. So I talk a little bit about that, but it's basically from that night when I was diagnosed up until about last year.
Okay, so what happened that night? It's just down but not out, my journey with chronic kidney disease.
So I had been not feeling well for a couple of years, off and on.
Okay.
Very, very tired. And that was the biggest thing, being very, very tired. And I had what they call edema, which is just another word for swelling in different places of my body, but it kind of came and went. I had little bouts of vomiting, but again, it came and went. And I'm like most people, I never really investigated it once it went away.
Okay, right. I feel good now.
I feel better. I don't need to investigate it. And so the very last incident was just like extreme abdominal pain. Out of nowhere. You would think it had to be my kidneys, had to be in my back, but it was actually abdominal pain. And that's when I was given a diagnosis. And when I mentioned to my grandmother from the hospital what I was diagnosed with, I found out that we have a family history of it. So that's one of the reasons why I was so adamant about spreading the awareness, because people need to know what things are running through their families.
Yes.
Had I known that, I may have been able to save myself some time without having to get onto dialysis, because from the diagnosis to the time I started dialysis, only about 18 months.
Okay.
Because I was in end-stage renal failure when I was diagnosed. I was at the end. Yeah. So not knowing hurt me. You know what you don't know won't hurt you. Well, it's not always true. Yeah, not knowing kind of hurt me, and I could have done things differently. I didn't know. But it is what it is.
Right, yeah, so you've chosen so you can help somebody else.
And so I've been helping people over, you know, I didn't do it initially. Initially, I didn't really want to share with people because it's an invisible disease. I don't look sick. I hear that all the time. I know that. Right. And so as long as it was invisible, I didn't have to tell people. And that's the way that I wanted to keep it for a long time, because I was really young. But my husband helped encourage me to try to share with people what I knew. And he would say, you know, people need to know how God is blessing you. Because
so how old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was 27.
Wow, yeah, that's
27 when I was diagnosed.
Young woman.
Yeah, and I'm 47 now, so
Okay.
I'm a different person. I like my thoughts are different.
Oh yes.
And you know, desires to do more with my life and in the community. You know, that comes as you get a little bit older. You know, you realize I'm here for a different purpose than just making myself happy.
Right. So you do get to that point eventually.
It's not all about me.
Yes, because you're right. because we grow up, we're taught to grow up, get your job or school, you do like you have these goals, right? So it is, we don't intend to be selfish, but that's how that's the path that I think we're all pretty much brought up by.
And having as a mom, my children are at risk because it's hereditary.
Yes.
So I needed to make sure that they know and are well aware of what's going on, because it looks like it kind of skips generations. So none of my kids may ever get it, but I could be away. I may not even be here anymore, and their kids may end up with it. And we don't need to be in. We don't need to not know anymore that this is something to tell the doctors. I have a family history of this.
Correct.
So I felt like if my kids are constantly hearing me talk about it and watching me do all these things, there's no way they wouldn't know.
Right.
I have 2 little grandsons, and they're at risk. They're definitely at risk, and their other grandmother, she has helped me out a lot. She's been tremendous with doing things, because she realizes too, they're her grandkids, like they're my grandkids, and we care a lot about them and their future. And if she knows, she can make sure that this is not something that they're blindsided with as well,
Right.
So.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I feel like maybe I was called to do. It's been tough, but at the same time, I don't feel like all of my pain has been in vain, because I've taken this bad thing and turned it around. So I'm not constantly focusing on it and woe is me and upset, because I have things to do. Like I did dialysis this morning. I got off the machine at 6 o'clock this morning.
Wow, you came to be with us.
And I came right. I could have just laid around on the bed and watched TV, and I felt like it. But I have things to do. So I get up and I get dressed and I go ahead and I do them. Unless I'm in really bad shape and I just really don't feel good. Otherwise I go out and I do those things. And those things keep me feeling a little bit better.
Okay.
Because I feel like, hey, I have something that I have to do. This is important. This is going to help people. So I got to get myself on up and go ahead and do it. And once I get up and start moving and get out of the house, it's not that bad.
Okay.
But I am just like anybody else. If I allow myself to lay around, I will.
You're right. Right.
I will. So being involved in what I'm involved with helps me, because people say to me, you have such a positive attitude and you're always smiling, you're always looking good, but I'm busy. I'm busy. And that helps. And I try really, really hard to stay focused on what's going right.
Okay.
Because there's things that go wrong all the time. There's problems, this is hurting, that's hurting, this is not acting right, this don't want to show up. This part acts like it wants to leave the body. That happens all the time.
Okay.
But focusing on those things don't stop them. It doesn't stop them. They're going to still do what they do. So I try to focus on the things that are going right. Like, I can still work. I still am gainfully employed in spite of all of this. I've had children when they said I couldn't have kids. I've been able to still be somebody's mother. Like, people need me. So there's a lot of things that I can say that are going well in my life. Enough of them that I don't have to worry about focusing on the bad things.
Right.
And I don't, it's not that I always look good. It's just that's when you guys see me.
Right, yeah.
Because when I'm not looking good,
that's reality.
Stay at home, right? That's when I have to make the call and say, I can't
do it right now.
I can't. Right. So, the way that people see me is when I can.
I know I see those cute pictures, on Facebook.
Yeah. But they tell you now that stuff can be deceptive, because people only post the good. I won't post a day when I'm having a vomiting fit and all.
Are you right?
Post that.
Yes, you do a Facebook Live.
Right. We forget about that kind of stuff. We see all of these good things going on in people's life, but we forget they have the bad things. It's just a whole.
But for you, when I see that though, because I know about the kidney disease, it's inspiring. I said, look at Monica. I said, she is still moving. She's looking pretty. She's doing her thing. Her and her husband are doing this, and
And that's the idea behind it.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it. That's really what I like to do. I want to encourage people. And at first, it was all about people who have kidney disease and people who can benefit from what I went through with kidney disease. But I learned after a year or two that it's not just about kidney disease. It's about struggles.
Yeah.
It's about hardships. And it's about, like this book says, it's about being down.
Yeah.
But you reminding yourself that you're not out.
Yes.
And trying to get through it the best you can. That varies for everybody. What you're able to do. You know, you should never do more than you're able to do.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're not supposed to be walking and you need a cane or something, don't throw the cane down because you see Monica posting pictures and she said, I got to be positive. Don't be silly.
Yes.
You know, do what you can do. My message is to try to be encouraged.
Okay.
Be encouraged for yourself. Know what your limitations are, but don't think that this is the end because I'm going through a divorce, or I'm having a bad day, or I was diagnosed with this, or I was diagnosed with that. It's not necessarily the end.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if we can think positively about the things that are going well and not really focus so much on the things that are going bad, and try to enjoy ourselves. You know, if you want to go to a picnic or something and you feel well enough to do it, then do it.
Okay.
You know, because those positive things, those happy times, help make you deal with the bad times a little bit better.
Yes.
You know, a little bit better. It's not that you're not going to be sad because your life has changed. You know, don't think that I'm not upset sometimes. Like, why did this have to happen?
Yes.
Because my life has been changed so much. There's so many things that I felt like I needed to do.
Yeah.
I was only 27 and I needed to do this, I needed to do that, you know. And because of this, darn kidney disease, I can't do this and I can't do that.
Right.
But there's so many other things that I still can do.
Like
You know.
teach. I mean, you're teaching. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm teaching. I'm a sociology professor at Cuyahoga Community College, and I've been
Great.
doing that for 9 years.
Wow.
And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I was a part-time teacher for a while, and I worked at other places. And what I realized was that 40-hour-a-week type of job didn't work really well for me with my illness.
Yes.
What I found out was that my part-time job as a teacher was the type of job that was very flexible, because you don't teach all day, every day.
Yes, that's right.
You know, you teach a couple days a week. You teach maybe in the morning only, in the afternoon only, online only. There's so much flexibility. And so I realized that if I really wanted to work, I needed something that would be very flexible for me. And teaching was it.
Yeah, and
It
you still
worked.
make an impact on other people, not just, get your income. Yeah.
Right. Because the fact that I am able to work encourages other people that, okay, well, if she can do it, maybe I can too. And again, we have to make sure we don't try to compare ourselves to other people. Everybody needs to try to make sure they stay within their own limitation.
Correct.
You have to make sure that you do that. And I had to realize what my limitations were. 40 hours a week, that didn't work for me. Waking up early in the morning and running out to go to work.
Right.
That didn't work good for me.
In traffic.
That didn't work good for me. But what works good for me is that I can say which classes I want to teach. So I can say, I don't want to teach a 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock class. If there's nothing else available, then I'll take that.
Right.
But I prefer to not have to wake up and run out of the house early. And that works for me because if I wake up and I'm not feeling good, I have time to take some medicine, eat, relax a little bit, and give my body a chance to say, okay, now let's go.
Okay.
And I didn't have that before when I had to be there at 8.
Right.
I didn't have that before. And then I also have this flexibility where maybe on Tuesday, I only have one class. So I go at 9:30 and teach the class, and it's over with at like 11 o'clock, and I can go home. So even if I really don't feel good, I can work for 2 or 3 hours and make it back home. It's not all day. You can, okay, I can get through these 2 hours and get back home. And I've been teaching for quite some time now, so it's easy for me because I know what I'm teaching. I know this stuff. So sometimes I have a new class and I have to start from the beginning, but I'm basically teaching the things that I've been teaching for so long, so it's easier. So it works. I shouldn't ever use the word easy probably, but it works well for me.
Yes.
It works well for me. So what's considered full-time for a professor is 25 hours.
Okay.
And that's just about enough for me, And if I need to stay longer, if I want to stay longer, I can. Like I said, over the summer right now, I'm doing all my work on the internet.
Okay.
So, I can do it at whatever time I like to do it, and I don't have to run out of the house.
Yeah.
So so I can take the whole summer and make sure I'm real relaxed and ready for the academic year.
Yes, absolutely.
So you have to figure out what works.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can't do things.
You have a plan.
You have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure that it works for you, and then you can, hopefully run through that plan. And then if that plan doesn't work, just start a new plan, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Start a new plan. Because I thought I would do the 40-hour-a-week job until,
And you were doing dialysis.
I was still
that
doing
period of time.
dialysis. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that I could do it.
Yeah.
But that plan didn't work.
But
So I
you
came up
tried
with a new
it.
plan.
Yeah.
But I tried it.
And you didn't when it didn't work, you didn't go fall down and like.
I'm never doing it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna work. If I can't do this, then there's nothing for me.
Right. Right.
See, that's an inspiring and encouraging, part about you.
Because I wanted to have something to do. So, a lot of it has to do with the desires of the person. I wanted to have something to do. Sitting around the house watching TV is good for a couple days. But after a while, I get bored.
Yeah.
And
I think you'll be sicker too.
Probably. And I want something to do.
Right.
I want to get out.
Yeah.
I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So
talk to some humans.
absolutely, absolutely. Besides my dog.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how many days a week, or is it just hours that you
For
have to do your dialysis?
okay, so I'm in a program. It's a home dialysis program through a company called Next Stage, and they're all over. I don't know if they're out of the United States, but I know they're all over the United States. And so the center that I'm connected with to do Next Stage is called Center of Dialysis Care in Mentor.
Okay.
So this program is a short program. You do 2.5-hour treatments, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours,
Okay.
5 days a week. So you do more treatments than you would if you were in the center, but you do shorter treatments.
Okay.
And what I love about doing the home dialysis is that I do it whatever time I want to do it. So when I'm working, I'll do it. I don't know, have a little bit of insomnia, so I don't sleep really well. So I'll do it at about 3:30 in the morning. Okay. And then I get off at about the time that I would be waking up to go to work. I get off and then I get ready for work. Okay. And then, depending on what time my class starts, then I leave. But I can relax. Okay. Get it out of the way and be done for the day. But I don't always have to do it. If I don't wake up, if I oversleep, then that's fine. I do it at the end of the day. Okay. So I can get on maybe about 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. And I can fall asleep while I'm on there if I want to, and then I get off and then go to bed. Now that's what I like. I do like being able to get off and then go to bed for the night and wake up really rested. Okay. But that doesn't always work. Yeah. So I have to do what works, get those 5 days in.
Yeah. So have you ever done traditional dialysis?
Well, I did that for the very first year. That was back in 2001. Okay. From 2001 to 2002. I did a whole year. And I found myself pregnant with my daughter in 2002. And I wondered, how am I going to find somebody to babysit while I go to dialysis? Yeah. Because I called the program where they do daycare and they give you vouchers or whatever. And the guy says, oh, you have to be working or going to school. I said, well, what about being on dialysis? I said, no, working or going to school. So who's going to take care of this baby when I do dialysis? And, I had this power of positive thinking. Okay. And my cousin told me about the home dialysis program. This was a different program, not the Next Stage program, but it was a different program. So I got into it and I trained through the rest of my pregnancy. And that was about 6 months or so, 7 months. And that worked out. So I did that program for 15 years. It was nocturnal. So you did it 6 to 8 hours every other night while you slept. So I took care of my own babies during the day. My husband would kind of keep up with them at night when they woke up. And I took care of them during the day. I was stay-at-home mom at that time. Okay. And the reason, and I loved that program. I probably would have never stopped, but I had a stroke. And after I had the stroke, I couldn't go back. I couldn't do my own dialysis at all. Okay. Because, it's a brain injury. Yes. And so they don't want to allow you to take care of yourself after a stroke because they don't know if you can. Okay, correct. You have to wait till your brain is functioning normally again. And so that home dialysis program was not accepting any new patients. Okay. So I said I need to be back into the home program because once I get the you know, I'm the okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to work.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
know from having done that for 15 years that the home dialysis program is what would allow me to be able to work. It worked for me. And I know that being able to work is important to me.
Yes.
So I found out about this Next Stage program.
Okay.
And that was my only other option since I couldn't get into that other program again. So I've been doing that now for a year and a half.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm basically a home dialysis girl.
Okay. I had never heard of it. That is amazing. So you're just
Yeah.
teaching us some new stuff, right there. And for people who don't know anything about the process of dialysis or whatever it is, because first thing we think about kidney, then we think about urination and stuff, but it's not even about that at all. Can you really explain?
Well,
that?
so you get it.
Dialysis
You got it
is-
right. Yeah. So okay, a couple of things happen.
Mhm.
The kidney is such an important organ. I would have never known that the kidney does as many things as it does until I, found myself in this position. So one of the things that happens when you have kidney failure is that you lose your ability to urinate.
Okay.
That doesn't even sound
Mhm.
like it makes sense, does it?
Yeah, no, yeah, because we're automatically
'Cause
just,
we
because
go.
it's a mindless activity.
Right.
Basically.
We go in
Tells
the
you
morning,
gotta
we
go
wake
there.
up,
Yeah.
and about every 4 hours after, drinking regularly, you need to go. You know when you need to go, you go. Well, what happens for a lot of dialysis patients is that your body is telling you that you need to go. And you go into the bathroom, and you can sit there for an hour if you want to.
Oh,
It's nothing coming out.
okay.
Maybe a little drip. It's
Yeah.
not coming out.
Mhm.
Okay, so what happens now? I've been drinking,
Mhm.
and I need to release it,
Yes.
but I can't get it out.
Wow.
So what do, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing I can just like stick a needle in me and let it come out. Like, what do I do? Well, that's what dialysis is for.
Okay.
It takes that fluid out of our bodies when we're doing our dialysis that we can't take out ourselves.
Okay.
And so when it takes that fluid out, it does kind of work on your heart.
Mm.
So they don't want to take out a whole lot
Okay.
because they don't want to make it be so much work for the heart, So you're required to not do a lot of drinking in between your dialysis treatments. They call it
Okay.
a fluid restriction, so that you don't have a lot to try to take out and don't have to push your heart so hard to get it out.
Wow.
So you have to limit your drinking,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I haven't had a problem with drinking. I'm able to limit it really well, but what I
Yeah.
do have a problem with is eating ice,
Oh,
and that's just like drinking.
yeah, because it melts. You're right.
It's
Yeah.
just like drinking.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for some people,
Mhm.
not drinking. And what I've known, because it happened to me once, where I had too much fluid on me. I was in the center, and they couldn't get it all out that
Oh.
day, so I had to come in on my off day and get an
Wow.
additional treatment so they can get that fluid off.
Okay.
Because so I'm not a doctor, and I don't have a medical degree,
Mhm.
but I ask questions. So what I understand about this is that if they take too much off at one time, it pulls hard on your heart. But if they don't take it off, then your lungs can be filled up with fluid. That's bad too.
Yes.
So you have to be really careful with dialysis. The foods that we eat. So if you ever hear somebody saying they're on a renal diet,
Mhm.
the foods that we eat can be very detrimental to us. So there's so many things that a dialysis patient is not supposed to eat.
Okay.
And-
Such as.
Okay, potatoes.
Okay.
Not supposed to have potatoes. The nutritionist will say if you really want to have potatoes, you need to cut them up and soak them for 2 hours. Then
Wow.
clean them real well and then cook them. So that means if you really want to have potatoes, you got to eat them at home because
Okay.
you don't know if they're soaking them.
Correct.
in-
Yes.
when you're
Yes.
out.
Mhm.
Tomatoes,
Mhm.
and that includes tomato sauces. So
Mm.
that includes pizza, spaghetti,
Okay.
cheese.
Mm.
So that includes pizza. And I'm saying, you notice I'm saying pizza because I
That's your
like
favorite
pizza.
food.
I enjoy it. I like to just eat cheese, like little squares
Yeah,
of
me
cheese.
too.
What else?
Mhm.
Greens,
Mhm.
but not just any greens. The ones that they want you to stay away from on the list are collard greens.
Of course.
Now, again, I love collard greens. So the nutritionist has said, you can try a little bit of these things, a little bit, if you
Mhm.
just have to have it. And she'll have small portions on the list, like a cup or
Okay.
something. I know with the spinach, She prefers that you eat it raw, not cooked. About a cup of it. Nuts. They want you to stay away from nuts.
Okay.
Peanut butter. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head with the list. The list is really long. I've oftentimes said, why don't you just give me a list of what I can eat?
Right.
Because I can remember that better than this long list
That's
of what
true.
I can't eat. So they don't want you to have cornbread in the like Jiffy mix that's in the box, or pancake mix in the box.
Okay.
They, if you really want to have those things, you need to make them from scratch.
Wow.
So, with the cheese, that also includes macaroni and cheese, which is another one of my favorites. They don't really want you drinking colored pop. Maybe a ginger ale would be okay, but the preference is water. Just water. And you're only supposed to have so much, like a liter of whatever you're drinking a day.
Okay.
So if you drink coffee, that's included in that.
Wow.
Let me see, what else can I remember? Oh, goodness. Bananas, oranges. You can't have oranges or orange juice, which is something else that I really like.
Does it overwork the kidneys, or?
Well, there are different reasons for all of these different things. There's
we
things
just
like
need to do
phosphorus.
research.
Yeah, there's different, like this will give you too much phosphorus. This will mess with your potassium. So there's different reasons for some of these things that I'm naming. I'm just trying to go off of my memory about what I can't have.
Okay.
But what I know, my doctor had told me in April, I was in the hospital because they like for your potassium to be no higher than about 5.1.
Okay.
5.0, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And mine was 7.1. They would not let me leave out of the hospital. And my doctor said, when your potassium is high like that, there's no warning. Your heart could just stop. Wow. And it won't warn you. It could just stop. So that's why they wouldn't let me leave.
Okay.
And they had to immediately do dialysis, and they gave me some kind of pill to try to bring it down. And I had to stay in the ICU that night. Wow. Because it was extremely important to watch.
Did you feel weird? How did you know?
Feel a thing.
How did you know that it was your potassium?
I was having a hard time breathing because of the fluid that was on me.
Oh, okay.
And so that was the symptom that sent me in. I didn't know anything about the potassium. They just noticed that while they were looking at the breathing situation. So, I've spent a lot of time in the hospital, sometimes a week, sometimes a day or two, because there's been so many different little things happening. This is not the disease that you want to get if you can avoid it.
Right.
And that's the thing about those who are at risk for this disease because they have diabetes or because they have hypertension. If you can avoid it, you don't want this. This is not, it's so complicated. There's so many things. I'm just trying to explain some things from some experiences that I've had.
Right.
There's so much more that I don't know that I'm still learning. It's not one that you want. What I mean by that when I say those who are at risk can avoid it, potentially those who have hypertension and they don't think that that's a serious disease and they don't really think it's important to take their medicine. It can cause you to have a stroke, cause your kidneys to just fail because, your blood pressure is important.
Right.
And what I learned is that the kidney regulates the blood pressure. So if you have good blood pressure, thank your kidney. Because it regulates it for you, right?
Right.
But once your kidneys go out, then who's doing that job?
Right. That's
nobody.
Right.
So people who have kidney failure usually have the high blood pressure because the kidneys fail and it can't do its job anymore with the hypertension.
Wow.
Right? And also, if you have hypertension and you don't try to keep it regular, it's going to affect that kidney because they have that relationship. So if you're not keeping it regular, you're not taking your medicine, it's a good possibility. I won't say that it's going to happen.
Right.
Nothing is for sure. But it's a good possibility that it would cause a kidney to fail. And once it fails, it fails. It's not reversible. So now you have another disease that's a whole lot worse than just taking your blood pressure pills. So that's important. If you have high blood pressure, make sure you take your pills. And the same thing with diabetes. Do what the doctor has told you to do with that disease so that you don't end up with another disease that's even worse. Same thing. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. It might cause your kidney to fail. And once it's gone, it's gone. You can get another one if you get a transplant, but you don't grow another one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, there's a lot. I've learned so much in 20 years. still so much more to learn, experienced a lot, and I've been able to manage it and make it work.
Yes. Yep.
So far for
Mhm.
me, you know, and that's my goal. I
Mhm.
believe positive thinking will allow me to keep
Mhm.
having it managed and
Yes.
be able to do the things that I enjoy doing. I've been traveling. I never really liked to travel a lot because I didn't want to do dialysis in other centers.
Mhm.
But with this new dialysis program that I'm on, I can travel and take my machine with me.
That's amazing. I mean, technology has come such a long
It
way.
really has. The
That
machine
is-
is about 70 pounds, so
Mhm.
I have to make sure I keep money with me when I'm traveling because I have to
Mhm.
pay the people for lifting and
Oh, yeah,
everything.
okay.
But
Right.
it's doable. So I can go away for more than just a day or two.
Mhm.
Have to run back home and do dialysis. I can go away for a week if I want and take the machine with me and do it
Wow.
while I'm there. So I've been able to travel with my kids. We went to Disneyland for Christmas. We
Okay.
just came back from Myrtle Beach. They
Mhm.
want to go away to Disneyland again this year.
Mhm.
So, you know, I could care less whether I traveled or not, but my girls love it. So I'm
Right.
able to do that with them. You know, they're 16 and 17. They'll be grown
Okay.
soon.
Yeah.
So I'm able to do that with
That's
them.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So life doesn't stop.
It doesn't have to
Doesn't
stop.
have to stop.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome. So, what other message is it that you have for us in your book?
So,
Here's one of those faces.
you know, I went through a divorce in the very beginning when I was diagnosed, and
Mhm.
it was sad.
Yeah.
But I shared that information because
Mhm.
the stress that I was going through at the time,
Mhm.
and then the diagnosis came during the time that I was dealing with the stress, and I, you know, believe that it kind of helped
Mhm.
the diagnosis,
Mhm.
all of the stress, you know. And what's interesting about my book is that there are reflections at the end of every chapter.
Okay.
So I'm talking about what I went through, and I'm talking about how I dealt with it. And then at the end of the chapter, reflections are for you, the reader.
Okay.
Like, what did you get out of that? When did you have a time that might have been
That's
similar?
awesome as a teaching tool, Miss Teacher,
'Cause-
Professor.
Right, as a teacher, I guess that makes sense for me to have done, right?
Yeah.
And so some people have said that they really appreciated those reflections because it really made them think. They're thinking about themselves in their own situations after they've read mine,
Right.
my story.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing about the book. I've heard a couple of people say they read it together, like a husband and wife read it together and did the reflections together. So they made it like a workshop,
Okay.
you know, and it's up to them. I have a coach, a speaking coach, and she said, there are several books inside of this book, girl.
You know what? You better get going then.
So, you know, that's what she said. You know, I just told my story.
Yes.
I just shared my story. I just tried to make it, you know, give as much information as I could to try to be able to help people.
Okay.
But so there's information about, you know, just dealing with stressful situations, whatever.
Mhm.
It could be somebody going through a divorce like me or a bad relationship, or it could be a job that's
Mhm.
stressing you out. And it could be a lot of things. Of course, it's talking about the illness and what I did. It's talking about how my positive thinking, you know, the power of positive thinking, where the doctors had told me I couldn't have any more kids, that women on dialysis don't ovulate. And you'll read about both of my daughters that were born while I was on dialysis.
Yeah.
It talks about the stroke.
Mhm.
You know, it was unexpected, and it came right in the middle of the times when I was doing well. You know, things happen.
Right.
You know, and what I went through with that. And it talks about a transplant. After 16 years of waiting, I was a good match. You know, I finally got a transplant. And it talks about, you know, what that was like.
Mhm.
You know, having a transplant. And then at the end, it talks about what's happening now.
Okay.
Well, and I say now, that was when I finished it in
Right.
2018.
Yeah.
You know, so that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can we get your book?
So, you can get the book on Amazon.
Okay.
You can get the book at barnesandnoble.com. Either one. Or you could come to an event.
Which that's a good segue. We
Or I'll
got an
be
event coming
there.
up.
Yes. So
Tell us
I have an event coming up,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
called, so it's kind of piggybacking off of the book.
Okay.
It's called Down But Not Out,
Mhm.
Taking Your Life Back.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 4 dynamic speakers,
Okay.
myself included. But there's Larry,
Mhm.
there's Leon, and there's Nancy,
Okay.
and then myself, Monica.
Okay.
It's all 4 of us. And we're all talking about struggles and things that we've gone through when we felt down,
Mhm.
and how we dug ourselves out. And that's why it's gonna be dynamic.
Man.
That's why it says taking your life back, because
Yes.
we're giving you nuggets and tools that we use to take our lives back and to encourage the attendees to take their lives back, give them some empowerment to be able to take their lives back from whatever they're going through. Awesome. It's set up really awesome. We have right now the VIP tickets are on sale at Eventbrite, and the VIP tickets include 2 hours of luncheon with all 4 speakers. Before the general admission, people come in, swag bags, reserved seats. It's going to be at the theater at the Eastern Campus of Tri-C. So those, we only have
alma mater, I went there. I graduated from there.
50 VIP tickets. So those 50 people will have reserved seats in the front, and then after that, general admission seats, people will sit wherever they want to sit. I'm really excited about the VIP luncheon.
Yeah,
So I
that
think
sounds
it'll be
exciting.
a great time for people to pick our brains. You know, there's authors, coaches, speakers. Like we have, between the 4 of us, we have so much to share, so much to give. And you can pick our brains, ask us questions. If you're interested in getting a coach, if you're interested in writing your own book, you know, whatever you want to talk about, you can do that. We're doing a Q&A. We're going to have a nice, good catered lunch with Tri-C's catering, and I'm excited. I know that it's going to sell out. Tickets just went on sale this week, and I know that it's going to sell out because people want these types of things. People need these types of things. They want to be encouraged, and they want to feel like they have the tools that they need to be encouraged, and they want it from people who have done it.
Thank you.
People who have done it. People who are willing to share what they've done and what's worked for them. You know. So yeah, this is coming up August 31st at the Eastern Campus again of Tri-C. And so if you're interested in getting a book and you don't want to get it off the internet because you want it signed, come to the event. I'll have a table there where I'll be autographing books, signing them for people. And I love to talk to people and share information. And sometimes it's not enough time in an event. I give out my phone number.
Right, exactly. You don't have
Let's meet up for coffee
Yes.
and talk. You know, I've been doing that for a long time because it's been helping people. And I haven't gotten paid. I don't do it for money. I've gone to so many different places in Northeast Ohio, community centers, medical centers, churches, the whole 9 yards. I'm not asking for money. Sometimes they'll give me gas money. They give me like $20 or something. And that's fine. But it's not about that for me. It hasn't ever been about that for me. It's been about making a difference. There's a book chapter that's called "To Whom Much Is Given, Much Is Required." And I honestly believe that I've been given so much with all those blessings, having the babies and still being able to work. I feel like I've been given those things. So it's required for me to try to help others, to try to give back. I haven't ever really been worried about money and things like that because it comes. I'm not lacking anything. My needs are met. I'm like the average human being. I want everything there is.
Right.
But if I'm being honest, my needs are met, and they always have been, and they always will be. So I don't worry about that.
That's awesome. Well, you got a boatload of encouragement here today. So we couldn't pay money, you know, for that. That's awesome. So down, but not out. So make sure you're on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, get the book, and look on Eventbrite for it's the Down but Not Out, same title, right?
Down but Not Out.
Look for the event. So
Taking Your Life Back.
Taking Your Life
Tour.
Back. Yes. Say the whole thing.
Down but Not Out. Taking Your Life Back. Tour. And it's tour because it's going to be in 3 cities. We're starting off here. We're going to Toledo. We're going to Columbus. And we're sharing what we have everywhere we can. Everywhere we can. And that's just the beginning. We're going to be going all over. We're going to be going all over. Wherever we are welcomed, we will be there.
I love it.
We will be there.
Amazing. Let's plug you into some folks in Columbus. Have a new leadership group that formed. You know, a lot of people there. So that's awesome. Make sure you have the dates set for those yet, or we can.
So we have 2 dates, but we have to find out with the 2 cities who wants which date. An October date and a November date. So yeah, I hope to be sharing that information soon.
Yeah, or at least at the October. I mean, the August event, rather.
Definitely, definitely, because we'll be trying to encourage people if they want to travel, come on out and see us again, and we, have the next set of tickets at a discount for those who have come to the first event if they're interested, So.
Okay. All right, so what's your closing message for us? You look right in that camera and, what's your closing message?
So my closing message is think positive, be encouraged, don't overdo it. Don't try to live your life the way that the other person has lived it, but do what's best for you. Try to live your best life because we only get one. And if you have been blessed by anything that I've said, bless me by making a purchase of the book and or coming to our event. We would love to have you, and I'd love to talk to you face to face.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate you coming.
You
This
are
is
so
awesome.
welcome. You are
Yeah,
so welcome.
definitely. So remember her words today. You go out and make a difference. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And just be positive.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
To sponsor or appear on this or any of our web shows, contact studio at mwmg.tv. That's studio at mwmg.tv.